Let's bring in Corey Crowley, Republican strategist, with more on this here. 99 days to go here. Big question, how does Kamala Harris keep the momentum going? Corey, what do you think?
Well, in some ways she's disadvantaged, Todd, by not having had the opportunity to build out her own ground game and campaign in advance like typical candidates get to. But in another sense, she's able to take advantage of this kind of newcomer's enthusiasm and the momentum that provides and harness it in a way that this doesn't have to become a marathon campaign for her. Where lots of campaigns go wrong is over the course of the marathon, the 2 years or more that sometimes presidential campaigns spend actively campaigning, they lose track of their vision, they lose track of their message, they lose staff, they go through all kinds of upheavals. But in 99 days, you really don't have the opportunity to suffer those types of setbacks. And so I think in some ways it's a challenge, but it seems so far she's able to harness that challenge into an opportunity for her campaign and do it quite well, to be honest.
How about the attack line? Donald Trump is just plain weird that her campaign is trying out here, Corey. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, he's corrupt hasn't worked, and he's a shyster hasn't worked. So that's what they've tried before. So try on weird, I guess. It just seems though Donald Trump is Teflon. He's held to a completely different standard of politics and morality than most people who enter the national stage as candidates. And he's been able to create a narrative that contradicts his own life story in a way that's more convincing than the facts of history. And so I think in that sense, they're going to have a tough time at the Harris campaign. But where they have an advantage is picking a strong vice presidential nominee, somebody who brings credibility to the Democratic ticket that J.D. Vance doesn't offer, and somebody with a set of skills that complements Kamala's. And they can then move forward trying to create contrast in real ways of public policy and fewer in terms of personality, which just doesn't seem to work against Trump.
A poll 99 days away, we have to take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of these new polls show Harris coming really close to Trump, tying him in some of those key battleground states. What do you make of that right now?
Well, she's certainly surging. Prior to the campaign, prior to her being announced as the candidate and Joe Biden dropping out, she was polling well behind Biden in head-to-heads. So it goes to show you that when you become something more than the afterthought or the plan B and you're in the chair and you can ask that head-to-head question, it does help you. The other thing she has going for is recent polls out of battleground states this weekend that her favorability in every single one of 5 key battleground states is over Donald Trump's, in some cases by 5 or 6 points. So if you can start to take that positive image people have of you and transition it to getting them out to vote for you, then you're really in a good spot.
Yeah, places like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Minnesota as well. Can I get your take on the vice presidential pick that Donald Trump chose, J.D. Vance, and, some of his previous comments now getting more and more scrutiny and, possibly some danger for the Trump campaign. Is that real? Is that overblown? What do you think?
Well, I think that you're going to continue to see it scrutinized. And unfortunately for President Trump, this is a bit of a Sarah Palin pick in my mind. When John McCain picked Sarah Palin kind of off the fringe and wasn't really properly vetted. They hadn't dug into a lot of her previous comments. And I think the same is true here for Trump. It was a pretty arrogant pick. He thought that he was running against Joe Biden and there was no way he could lose, and that really there was nothing the vice president could bring to his ticket, unlike when he needed Pence 8 years ago to shore up his conservative bona fides. And now he's finding that a vice presidential pick can also be a liability. And honestly, it's Sarah Palin that sunk John McCain in 2008. And we'll see if J.D. Vance has that same kind of albatross around the neck effect.
Yeah, comments he said about Trump being morally reprehensible, I hate the police, and all sorts of other things. Now a friend has released, emails from, 7, 8, 9 years ago. How much of that, though, will resonate with Republican voters today in 2024?
I think it's less likely to resonate with Republican voters, but it's a lot more likely to create intensity on the part of the Democrats to turn out to vote to stop him as the future of the Republican Party or as the future of the MAGA movement. And it's also much more likely to swing those voters who are still sitting on the fence going, can we tolerate Donald Trump? And these are the people who voted for Biden last time and changed the tide. Or do we want the stability that a Harris, whomever ticket can offer? And the more erratic they can make J.D. Vance look, or his own previous comments make him look, the less the people who just look for stability, that's all they want, keep the crazy out there, who are going to turn the tide of this election.
Okay, do you think Trump will, in fact, debate Kamala Harris or not?
I don't think he'll have a choice. You can't run as the tough guy candidate if you are unwilling to take the debate stage. And for as much heck as he gave Joe Biden, convincing him into that early debate, earlier than he should have, I think he'll have a hard time walking away from him here.
Corey, good to see you as always. Thanks for taking the time.
Glad to be with you.
Well,